My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
What is Cafe Mocha? Cafe Mocha is experts, celebrities.
What's up? This is Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yours truly, Idris Elba.
This is Fantasia.
This is In Vogue.
This is India Ari. So much more. All from a woman's perspective.
What flavor are you, baby?
This is Cafe Mocha.
Cafe Mocha's radio from a woman's perspective with Loni Love, YoYo, and Angelique. The presidential race is coming quickly, so we're looking at Project 2025. Plus, President Biden's press secretary says the record straight about the accomplishments of the Biden-Harris administration.
On the line, she's our favorite White House correspondent for the Griot, April D. Ryan. And she's also at MSNBC. I seen her talking to them, a contributor, and she's a journalist, and she married now. So, April.
Yes. And she got books, and she's a mother, and she got 2 brand new puppies, 2 boys, siblings.
Oh
I'm like,
God.
oh no.
How's
exactly.
marriage? Marriage is good still?
Oh yeah. We're still in the honeymoon phase. Yes.
Ooh, did you hear that, Yo-Yo?
Yeah.
You see what I said?
Wait, what's the honeymoon phase?
Giggling and looking at each other, smiling, going out to dating, and then we went to see Walter Beasley recently. Go out to concerts, go to dinner. He's a foodie. He likes trying all different kinds of food, and just being with each other, watching his movies. He's into all of that, Star Wars and May the Fourth be with you and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he watches my girly movies. I watch his Marvel movies and all that. It's a lot, but it's fun. It's fun.
I mean, it's companionship, and it's, especially when we, women like us, we need companions. It's nice,
yes,
isn't
and
it?
I
It's
see.
nice.
Yes, and I watch you post everything. I said, I got to grow up for that. I can't post everything yet. But it really is nice, because after you work hard and do everything, give the world everything, you got to come back home and just be held and hold someone. That's it. Love.
Talking about love, do you talk politics when you get home?
Oh my gosh. He will tell you the first thing I told him when we started talking as friends before we even really started dating. He wanted to talk politics. I said, do you talk about your job every day? Do you like talking about your job when you come home? And he will never let me forget that. And that's all we do. We talk. We have some of our biggest disagreements are political. And, but it is what it is. But at the end of the day, our toes are touching each other at night, and we happy. So
that's right.
But no, I mean,
period.
I don't like talking politics, period, after work, because I'm so entrenched in it. But with him, I feel safe. He's a retired naval officer, and, he understands not just domestically, but the global situations that we're in. We talk not just about what's happening, Hamas, Israel, and Palestine. We talk Congo. We talk Haiti. We talk domestic policy. We talk so many different things. He gets up early in the morning and leaves like 4 a.m, and I can't sleep because he'll text me, turn the TV on now. And I'm asleep still. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, this and that's going on. And I'm like, oh.
And there's nothing sexier than talking to your man about politics when you really don't want to, because you're in it, and switching the conversation. Let's be clear.
Yeah, he's like my mom used to be. He's my toughest critic and the biggest fan, so I trust him. He's good.
Love it. It's Cafe Mocha on the line. April D. Ryan, White House correspondent for the Griot, MSNBC contributor. Let's talk about this summer. I mean, oof. It's a lot happening, April. It's a lot going on. Let's start, first of all, with what's happening with the 2 candidates. I mean,
we've been seeing polar opposites for the last 2 presidential elections. It's like the moral compass of this country versus you're taking stuff away from me versus We don't want your kind here. That's what it's boiling down to. Us versus them, racism versus the moral compass. And it's just really ridiculous. So this election, Donald Trump has pulled out every white nationalist card, every anti-Semitic card. He's pulled out a lot of cards, every anti-Black card, even though he's making sneakers so we can buy and, saying that we relate to him because he's indicted. People have to understand, no matter what president, historically, we are a community with the highest numbers of negatives in almost every category. And if you sit out, you're more the problem than you are fixing the problem. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but you got to get in the process to change it. Mm-hmm. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. That's when things change.
And here we still have trouble in the United States. People are having a problem with that because they are not embedded in this political realm of things. They don't understand what's going on in the political realm. They are just talking about what they see in front of them.
Yeah, let me tell you this, and that's a very good point. When you have these extreme groups, it's because people don't feel covered by government. When Barack Obama became president of the United States, we had more people running into social media, just happy and engaged in the process because many people felt like they were left out of the process, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, we got a Black man who looks like us. And, one of the things, he was considered a rights president, but one of those things that swept through his presidency was the fact of policing, accountability in policing. Because remember, it started when Skip Gates was profiled early on in his administration. Then our Sowar, Sabrina Fulton, Trayvon Martin was killed. And he said he could have been my son. And people were like, what does he mean? What do you think he meant? He's a Black boy and that's a Black man. And people wanted to make a big deal out about the fact that he said he could have been my son instead of focusing in on the fact that this is the plight of Black men and Black people in America, right? Mm-hmm. And it just kept on going. And then the juxtaposition of the first Black president, people were so angry. They were like, oh my God, we can't do this. So you get somebody the polar opposite of Donald Trump who covered those people who felt like, they weren't covered, the white male who didn't go to college maybe and who felt that they connected with Trump. But I guarantee you they will not be able to stay whatever he owns. I guarantee you those people, Trump would not want him staying in any of his hotel properties. You know what I'm saying?
Voting day is Tuesday, November 5th. A lot of the rules have changed since we voted in 2020. So the best thing to do is check and then double check. Make sure you're registered. Make sure you know the deadline to register. Make sure you know the requirements for registering. Do you have to show your ID? You can find out all that information at whenweallvote.org. More with White House correspondent April D. Ryan coming up on Cafe Mocha.
Standing in solidarity from a woman's perspective. It's Cafe Mocha.
It's Cafe Mocha on the line. April D. Ryan, White House correspondent for the Griot, MSNBC contributor. Let's talk about the young people on the vote. President Biden is trying to ban TikTok. How he gonna get voters? He banning TikTok.
Oh, girl, let me tell you something. My kids, I mean, they do all these little TikTok dances and the TikTok challenges and stuff. I'm like, Lord, there's going to be an uprising in my house. I mean, but really, seriously, and this is a serious issue that impacts young people. We have seen over time that young people have held up governments, changed the dynamic of governments because they took Facebook away, a few years ago in different countries. Or anytime there is a threat to take social media away, there's an uprising by young people. But it's not just young people who use TikTok, it's businesses too. That thing is a powerful tool. But here's the crux of it, and this is what people have to understand. There's a government that this country is concerned about. We have a complicated relationship with, and it's China. And the people who own TikTok are from that country. And the question is, is there spying? Is there information going out that should not be going out on TikTok. And that makes sense. You know, it's a national security issue. It's a personal security issue as well. But the average person doesn't understand that. They look at, hey, I'm dancing, I'm doing this, I'm watching people. You know, this has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with politics. And it also has everything to do with your entertainment. The two are meeting. Now, the question is, if you can get an American buyer, it's fine. But if you can't, it's in trouble.
Wow. I mean, and also talking about the young vote, let's go back to Cardi B, also Amber Rose.
Right.
You know, first of
Yes,
all,
I saw that.
Yeah. Do you think, I think that I don't know this to be true. This is just me thinking with the Amber Rose situation. Do you think that she possibly is working with Donald Trump for a check?
Let's go deeper. Is she still close to Kanye? Because I thought they were still friends.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
So, and when and look, I don't know if anybody's paying a check personally, but when you get in those crowds, you get appearances, there are perks, okay? When you become a surrogate or someone, that face in that crowd, you get perks. So,
you know, people didn't really care about politics, like you said, April, until Barack Obama got into it. You saw
black folks. Yeah.
Black folks didn't really get involved. We really didn't care about politics, especially in the urban community. Exactly, because Black folks knew how to figure it out. Black folks knew that without politics, we were going to survive. We were capable of finding a way to survive. My mother would never give me
out of no way.
Would never give me her information to put on college papers, food program papers, nothing. She would never give me her information. So when Black folks started giving up their information, those who were afraid of this system that before us robbed them or did them wrong, to have these younger folk coming in here playing politics, and who I don't think give a damn about it. It is a problem because they don't.
I'm not going to say that.
But this is me. This is just me. I'm saying there's a lot of them who don't really care about politics. What we're trying to do is engage them more. But a lot of them are just playing politics because of the question Loni asked. Are they getting paid to be present?
Well, let me say this. Think about what attracts you to a politician. He speaks your language. Fat Joe says, I vote for that person who's I see out in the street, who's really working for the people. And that's the thing that the people want to see. Somebody that you can relate to, somebody who breaks all of that cerebral, thus thou art, wherefore there is, down in layman's terms, in common speak. People like Ayanna Pressley are like the sheroes, or AOC, sheroes, you know, Barack Obama, hero, you know, Michelle Obama, shero, because they break it down and they touch all spectrums of the socioeconomic scale. So when people feel like they can relate to somebody, that's one thing. But also, and that's specifically for young people. But here's the thing for young people, don't count them out. Because let me tell you something, when we have any movement, it's young people that change the dynamic. And young people who are changing the dynamic. These college kids, like on the campuses, you know, during the school year, these sit-ins, but it wasn't HBCUs, because guess what? The president of Morehouse said something so profound. He said, what leads these schools now is politics and money. He says it's 5 donors that can shut down a lot of these Ivy League schools because of the wealth that they have. HBCUs don't have 5 donors that can shut down those schools. So that's why you're not seeing that fight between the students and the donors. And also these students understand, I can protest, but I need my degree.
This is why I love Cafe Mocha, because the mothers who listen, the young teens that listen, and the mothers who go home to their kids who know nothing about politics. This is why I love Cafe Mocha, because they don't know what to say. Anything we talk about on this radio station, it matters, because some people are not deep enough to dig deep enough. So we need to allow them to understand why it's important to vote, why it's important, because some people don't dig deep enough to even get that deep because it's too deep for them.
The thing is that when you don't teach history properly, you know, when your biggest thing is the beef between Kendrick and Drake. When
who you going for? And who you going for?
When your president was black, a lot of people have forgotten
that beef
history.
is done.
Right. That like they people have forgotten, you know, all the roads that we have taken, which Dr. King wanted us to be able to have this justice and all the civil rights activists, but people aren't paying attention to the laws that's being passed. Like the DEIs that's being shut down.
And you know, there are choices. And there are also choices to be involved. When there's an issue that hits you, and that's the thing, DEI, there's an attack on affirmative action.
Yes.
That is a direct attack on Brown v. Board, the integration of schools. And we are more segregated now than we were 20 years ago. And then on top of that, that Supreme Court decision, what it did, it talked about affirmative action changing the dynamic in admissions in schools, in college campuses. A lot of these people who brought those challenges, like that conservatives, these right-wing conservatives, took that decision and changed the narrative. Says, oh, it's not just in schools, it's in corporate America. Yep. Corporate America started listening to them instead of understanding the narrative is just about the schools, and people are following that now. So now this Biden administration, along with this Justice Department, are trying to make people understand it's not about corporate America. It was just for schools. And see, that's why we need people to be involved. And Loni, you're right. Not just learn history, but learn civics. We're not teaching civics in schools anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. People need to know what your government is for. The three branches of government. You know, they need to know who their president is. Well, they know who the president, because you see sides F Trump, F Biden. I mean, I think they're equal on both sides. But you know who your president is. But who do you know? Do you know who your vice president is? Do you know who your county executive is or your mayor is? Do you know your elected city officials? Do you know who's the head of your school board? Do you know who represents you in the council, the county council in your district? So that you can, you know, if something's wrong, you can call them. And that's the thing. People don't know. They don't understand the process. Well, it doesn't make a difference. They're going to do what they want to do. No, they don't. If you and like-minded people stand up, I'm not telling people what to do, but I hate hearing that people feel powerless.
Yeah.
Because that thing that says we the people who are still forming a more perfect union, I believe that. Maybe I'm crazy, but I still do.
But you said some powerful things right there, April. How to. People don't know how to. People don't know how to get the cars parked on their street off their street yet.
Yes, they do.
Loni,
people,
I'm just saying there's a lot of people.
Google.
But here's what I'm telling you, that it's that simple. And some people, I'm just speaking, I'm not speaking for Loni, you know, you went to college, you understand it. You are very intelligent, not saying that people are not intelligent, but there's a lot of people who are waiting for people to tell them something, waiting on people to tell them how.
Door to you. I tell you what, that nasty neighbor next door to you who feels that you shouldn't be parking in front of her house when you pay tax dollars just like she does for that same street, tries to call code enforcement, I guarantee you. And that's when, because I mean, I've heard this in Baltimore City and in Baltimore County in my area. People want to say, you can't park in front of my house. The only way you can get somebody not to park in front of your house if you petition the county and get that reserve sign in front of your house, right? That nasty neighbor who calls saying, I've been seeing this truck sitting in this driveway for so long. It ain't got nothing to do with it, but can call code enforcement. All you got to do is pick up your phone book and look at the services in your county, your city, in your municipality, in your state. Find out who represents you. This is so basic, and I'm so upset that many of these schools don't teach this anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Lastly, we're gonna let you go, but what happened with the Real Housewives of Congress? Um,
What?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Bleach, blonde, butch, built body. I forgot. I'm like, how did she say all those B's without, oh my God, stuttering? I'm like, come on. And she's our Soror Jasmine Crockett. Let me say this to you. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been a problem, a thorn in the side of Republicans as well as Democrats.
Yeah.
She's tried to get the Speaker of the House thrown out, who's in her own party. Mm-hmm. She's definitely a Trumper. But here's what I'm going to say to you. What Jasmine Crockett did was important. She fought back because what Marjorie Taylor did, when you don't have the words or the bandwidth to understand policy or what have you, you make personal attacks. It means you are lacking the sufficiency of knowledge of that subject, and that's when you make a personal attack. That's what Marjorie Taylor Greene did, okay? Yep. That Black woman that's sitting in that historic, predominantly white room was not going to let that woman tell her about fake eyelashes, insulting her womanhood, insulting her as a human being, and insulting her as a Black person. So she said what she had to say. And that poor congressman was like, what? He said, well, he didn't even get it. I was like,
he just put his head down.
That was the funniest moment. He's like, huh? And yeah, it was interesting. But my concern for her, once you get in the radar, and she's already been in the radar, but once you get in the radar or the crosshairs with the far right that support Donald Trump, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, you have to wait for the next attack, what they do. And that's the only thing that bothers me. You know, it's not over because somebody's going to do something or say something.
Yeah, definitely. April D. Ryan, she is our White House correspondent as well as the Griots and an MSNBC contributor. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us.
Anytime, my friends. Anytime. Happy summer.
Happy
summer. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, April.
Thanks, guys. Be well.
All right, peace.
Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
On the way, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean Pierre.
We're at Cafe Mocha Radio. Socially savvy on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Serving up more Cafe Mocha on the way.
We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. A future where no child has to grow up in poverty. Where every worker has the freedom to join a union. Let's also make no mistake, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. This campaign is about who we fight for. This is about who we fight for. We're not afraid of hard work. We like hard work, don't we? And we will win this election. Yes, we will.
Standing in solidarity from a woman's perspective. It's Cafe Mocha.
It's Cafe Mocha. Loni Love, YoYo. I'm Angelique on the line with the White House Press Secretary, Karine Jean Pierre. Welcome to Cafe Mocha.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I love being on the show. You all are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I admire each and every one of you and always appreciate the love that you give me. So thank you so much for having me back on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Excited to have this conversation.
Last time you were on Cafe Mocha, you were promoting your new book, Moving Forward, A Story of Hope, Hard Work, and the Promise of America. And then news broke that you would hold a key position in Biden's run for president. Flash forward, you are now the press secretary. What's that been like?
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. It's interesting hearing that being said back to me. I get chills. I also want to say that Cafe Mocha has always been so kind to me. So thank you for always lifting me up and having my back. Look, it's been a whirlwind, but a good one. Trying to, working for the Biden-Harris administration has been an opportunity to do some good work, right? To actually do work where we don't leave people behind, right? When you think about the economy, building the economy from the bottom up, middle out, and communities that you all talk about, the Black community, the brown community, have been left behind in so many administrations when we think about the economy and making sure that we're not just building it for the moment, but building for generations to come. And honestly, I would not have come into this administration if I did not believe in the work that we're doing and we continue to do, whether it's healthcare, lowering healthcare costs, making sure, you think about people who have diabetes and insulin is now at $35 a month for our seniors, what that means to our community, right? We think about there are folks in our community that pay $300, $400 a month, and now that's been capped, and that's because of the work that this president has done. There's so much ACA, Affordable Care Act, making sure that is expanded. We talk about, maternal health and what we're seeing, and so by expanding that helps Black women, that helps the Black community, and so there's work upon work upon work that we've been able to do. And so it's been a whirlwind, yes, but it's been a good whirlwind. And I'm honored and privileged to be able to stand at that podium or behind that lectern every day to speak on behalf of this administration. And one more thing before I hand it back to you for a second. I just talked about the podium, which reminded me, we named the podium. We got a new podium back in November. The last time there was a new podium in the administration was in 2007. And we named the podium after the two first Black women who were part of the White House press corps. I'm talking about 75 years ago. The first two Black women decided that they were going to become White House, part of the White House press corps, White House correspondent. And can you imagine what they had to go through, what they went through when they saw the makeup of the press corps at that time, and they said, okay, we want to be part of that. We deserve to be in that room. And we're talking about Truman and Eisenhower. Those are the times that we're talking about.
Right.
And so we decided, I'm talking about Ethel Payne and Alice Dunnigan. Alice Dunnigan was actually the first woman under Truman, and then Ethel Payne came in during Eisenhower. Ethel Payne, it took 3 months before President Eisenhower would take her question.
Wow.
And so we named the lectern after Dunnigan Payne. And so every time I stand behind that lectern, I am reminded of the two first Black women journalists who had to, 75 years ago, who I stand on their shoulders, right? I stand on so many shoulders when I think about this job that I'm doing, when I think about the people before me, the glass ceilings that they had to break, and learning from their intelligence and learning from what the doors that they had to open and how difficult that was.
We're talking to Karine Jean Pierre, White House press secretary. I want to talk about the you that a lot of people don't know. I mean, we see you behind that lectern, answering those questions, and we're proud because you're the first Black person. You're the first openly gay press secretary. But to me, the bigger story is that your parents were Haitian immigrants. And so your story, can you share a little bit of that for people who don't know it?
Yeah, so for people who don't know my story, wow, it is a story of strength, courage, fight, believing in yourself, believing that you can do anything. And that's my parents. I learned that from my parents. They grew up in Haiti. They grew up at a time where there was a dictatorship, and they wanted something better for their family. They wanted something more, even though they're incredibly proud of the history of Haiti. I know folks who understand our history, not just the Haitian history, but our history, Black history, understands that Haiti was the first Black republic in 1804.
Right.
That is something that my parents are incredibly proud of, but they wanted more, right? At that time, it was very hard. And so they wanted more for their kids and for their families. So they came to the U.S. And my dad was a New York City cab driver. My mom was a home health care aide. They lived paycheck to paycheck. And I want people to understand, even today, they live paycheck to paycheck. While for them, me being at that podium, standing behind that lectern is a dream come true. It is indeed the American dream, but that looks so different for everybody. Not everybody gets to be a millionaire and live that life. It is very difficult, as we all know in our community. And so they still live check to check. They still are very proud of what they've been able to accomplish, so that I've been able to accomplish. But it's been tough. It has been tough, and it continues to be tough, which is why I'm here at this job, because I understand, and many of us, my colleagues that I work with, know that there's still a lot more work to be done.
Yeah.
We still need to try and bring equity into this community and many communities that have been left behind.
I mean, I like that you know the struggle personally. That makes it personal for you. And President Biden has been serious about helping struggling families. He cut the child poverty in half in 2021, giving families $300 a month per child. Amazing program. Is there any hope of that returning?
Well, we're working for it. That's going to expire, and we want to do more. We want to do more. The American Rescue Plan, which was, by the way, only passed by Democrats in Congress. The president signed it, obviously. It was the first piece of legislation that he signed. Help put that $300 into Americans' pockets who needed it. We're talking about the pandemic. This is April of 2021, where people were losing jobs, but the economy is on the tailspin, right? And so the president wanted to make sure that we got folks back on their feet. And that was a way to do that. And now it's going to sadly expire. He wants to do that. He wants to do more. He wants to try and work with Congress to make that happen. Republicans are getting in the way. But that's why he's focusing on lowering healthcare costs, right? Drug costs. Beating Big Pharma. And that's why he's trying to get rid of junk fees so that we don't get taken by corporations. That's why he wants to make sure corporations and billionaires are paying their fair share. Right. That's why he wants to make the middle class stronger. Those are the things that he continues to do. Black unemployment was at high, up in the 9% rate. Now it's in the 5% rate. That's because of what we've been able to do. Still a lot more work to be done. HBCUs, this president has invested in HBCUs like no other president, more than $7 billion, because he understands how important it is for HBCUs to continue to be competitive.
We're talking to White House Press Secretary Karine Jean Pierre. We've got about 80 days till November 5th. You know what to do. It's Cafe Mocha.
Here's your dose of espresso. Strong, hot news now.
This is the Espresso. I'm Angelique. Comedian Miss Pat's Court Show is back on BET.
Ain't nowhere in the hell this little bitty ass man took a transmission out of a car by himself. He don't got that kind of strength. I'm looking at him. His shoes too heavy.
Miss Pat Settles It Season 2 is on BET Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. And polling numbers are up for Vice President Kamala Harris's presidential campaign.
This polling from the New York Times shows Harris up by 4 points in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. We'd seen already national polling, high-quality national polls, showing Harris pulling ahead of Trump.
My big sis and co-host Loni Love announced the passing of her mom last week. I wanted to look back at this tribute she gave her mom on The Real many years ago.
We never had much money, but she did the best that she could. Absolutely. Mama, I know what you did for me.
Oh, look at her.
I love her very much. Yes. Very, very, very much.
Yes.
Oh, we love you, Loni. And rest in peace, Mama Love.
This is Cafe Mocha. Radio from a woman's perspective.
It's Cafe Mocha with comedian and Emmy Award-winning talk show host Loni Love, hip-hop legend YoYo, and I'm the producer, Angelique. The presidential election is less than 3 months away. We've got White House Press Secretary Karine Jean Pierre to remind us just what the Biden-Harris administration has done while in office. What scares me about the college education experience is that stats say white men with a high school degree make more than black men with a college degree. So we as black people have to go to college. And I so appreciate some of the loan forgiveness that President Biden has been doing. Can you talk about how much money he's doled out to us struggling with student loans?
Yeah, I love that. So look, when the president was campaigning, he had said back in 2020 and that he understands what it is like or feels like to have debt from student loans just cripple you. He always talks about giving Americans a little breathing room. And so when he came in, he put together a plan. Republicans rejected it. He continued to he put a comprehensive plan that would be a piece of legislation to move that through. Republicans rejected it. So he came up with other ways, other ideas to continue to try and give that relief that's needed. And so he's canceled over $153 billion in student debt for more than 4 million borrowers. I mean, that's what he's doing. He recently announced his plan to provide student debt relief to over 30 million borrowers, and that's cancel runaway interest for over millions of borrowers, right? That's what he's trying to do. Automatic cancel debt for borrowers eligible for forgiveness programs like SAVE, like PSLF, and others, but who have not applied for those programs, right? We're talking about cancel debt for borrowers who entered repayment 20 years ago or more if they have undergraduate loans, or 25 years ago or more if they have graduate loans. Cancel debt for borrowers who enrolled in low financial value programs. I mean, we are talking about a lot of investment and interest in trying to make sure we do create that little bit of breathing room. He increased maximum Pell Grant by $900. That's helping 60% of Black undergraduates to get Pell Grants. I needed Pell Grants in order to go to undergrad. I could not have gone to undergraduate school if I did not have a Pell Grant.
How did you pay for college? I mean, with your parents living check to check. Again, these stories are personal for you, but how did you pay for college?
I mean, I got scholarships, I got Pell Grants, I got loans, all of the things, to help me get through school. Because you just said it, it is important for us in our community to go to college. But one of the things I do have to say, when the president passed the bipartisan infrastructure legislation, the CHIPS and Science Act, one of the things that he wanted to do is make sure that we created good paying union jobs, jobs where you can make more than above 6 figures. And many of those jobs, you would not need a college education. And we wanted to make sure that equity was at the center of this and that it didn't leave our community behind. We're still working through that, but that is an important part of the president's plan in creating jobs, making sure that, look, you can make 6 figures. You don't need a college degree to make that 6 figures. And it's important that we have to also build generational wealth. We have to do that as well in our community, and this is a way to do so. Getting rid of student loans is a way to do so. Making sure that you can get a 6-figure salary without having to go to college is a way to do so. And so this is all part of it, making sure that we creating that wealth. And we've seen Black wealth go up by 60% since before the pandemic, if you look at what the president has been able to do. More work needs to be done. We understand that. We understand that some people are still feeling the economy not working for them, but this is a president that's going to continue to do that work.
Tuesday, November 5th is voting day. Make sure you check and then double check that you're registered and you know the voting rules in your state. Things have changed since 2020. This is Cafe Mocha. We've got more with White House Press Secretary Karine Jean Pierre coming up.
Want a little more of our flavor? Stay right there. It's Cafe Mocha.
Cafe Mocha. We've got White House Press Secretary Karine Jean Pierre on the line talking about the Biden-Harris track record as it relates to issues in the Black community. Now, a lot of us have jobs, as you said, lowest unemployment rate ever. But, we like to have our side hustle. So a lot of the Black community, we started businesses during the pandemic, after the pandemic. What's going on to help support and grow small Black businesses? Is there money out there for us?
I love that question because, look, we have seen people starting in small businesses in this administration in record amounts, really, truly. We've seen 16 million people apply for small businesses, and people do that when they feel like the economy is working for them. And so I think that's also important to note. And so a couple of things that I can say, and we've seen a small business boom in the Black small business space as well. Black Americans starting small businesses, as I said, in record numbers. We have achieved the fastest growing rate of new Black-owned small businesses in over 30 years, and that is important. And so, the dollar value of SBA-backed loans to Black business owners have more than doubled since 2020. So that has helped Black owners start their businesses, obviously. SBA, which for folks who may not know what SBA is, the Small Business Administration that is part of this president's administration, the federal government here, has now surpassed the $1 billion mark in lending to Black-owned small businesses for the third year, doubling that of 2020 fiscal year. So we are investing in Black owners who want to start businesses. We are investing in them. It is double since 2019. And so that is our commitment in making sure that this economy does not leave anyone behind and really building that generational wealth.
May 1st, Florida enacted one of the most restrictive abortion laws. Regardless how people feel about abortion, we have to be concerned about when the government starts telling us what we can and cannot do with our bodies. What can President Biden do about women's rights now?
Look, let me just say, the Biden-Harris administration is going to continue to fight a fight for women to make these difficult decisions on their health care. And we have talked about protecting reproductive health care. We have talked about making sure that we do not have a national ban. And so they're certainly going to continue to call on Congress to pass a new law that restores Roe. We saw what happened almost 2 years ago. We saw a conservative court, because of what Donald Trump did. Mm-hmm. He put judges on that court who were conservative, and he wanted them to overturn Roe. They did just that. It created confusion and chaos. And so now you have, if you're in the United States, you're given birth, it's almost like a death sentence, and it shouldn't be a death sentence. And we know that it is all too common experience for Black women who experience unacceptable high rates of maternal mortality. I talked about how we expanded ACA, the Affordable Care Act, so that more women, more Black women, more women can get more really quality health care because of the rates that we have been seeing of maternal mortality. This president, this vice president are going to continue to ensure that Black women get the care they need during pregnancy, during childbirth, and postpartum. And that includes reproductive health care they need. And so the vice president has made clear, she's been on this tour across the country, and that the states with the highest maternal mortality rates tend to be in the states with the most severe abortion bans. And they're connected. They're connected. So millions of Black women live in states with an abortion ban in effect, and that shouldn't be. And Republicans in Congress want to have national bans, and we have to stop that. So we have so much at stake here. Our freedoms are at stake. Our democracy is at stake. And so the president and this vice president is going to do everything that they can to fight for those things, to fight for our freedoms, to fight for our democracy.
If you've been on social media, you've heard about Project 2025. Everybody's talking about it for good reason. It could roll back civil rights, human rights, educational rights that we've achieved over the past 75 years. Let's do our homework and then go to the polls. That's the show. Until next time, you can find us on all platforms at Cafe Mocha Radio. Cafe Mocha is a production of Miles Ahead Broadcasting in partnership with Super Radio. Executive producer Sheila Eldridge. For comments, booking, or more information, visit cafemocharadio.com.